Zone 100 Bucket List of the Dead could be a very special anime. This anime might have the second best pilot episode of the year so far. So then you might be wondering, if this is a number 2, then what's a number 1? Well, you already know what it is, so I guess we don't really have to talk about it. But anyways, we're here to talk about this brand new anime that was absolutely stunning. The first episode has hooked me onto the story, and now I am very excited to see how this story unfolds. The main character is named Akira Tendo, and he lives in a trash-filled apartment. After spending 3 hard years working at a terrible corporation in Japan, his spirit is broken. And then we get a little bit of a backstory to how he ended up this miserable. The very first day, he was very excited about the job, like most of us, especially if it's a job you worked very hard to get. And to make things even better for him, he was in love with one of his co-workers. Things were going great until he found out the dark reality of working inside a company that he always dreamed of. That's just the way it is sometimes. I know and have seen many people quitting their dream job just because of how harsh it is. Some might say that's usually the case when you turn your passion into a career, but I think one of the ways to really overcome that phase is to remember the reason you started doing this in the first place. And little by little, obviously, Akira started to despise his job to the point where he was willing to commit suicide. But then he remembered the reason why he was working very hard. He remembered his will to live so that he can at least confess to Miss Hotori. Just when you thought that things couldn't get worse for him, he found out that his first love has been getting banged by his own boss. Man, that's sad, man. Luckily for me, I can't relate. Then one morning, he stumbles upon his landlord eating lunch, which happens to be another tenant. And now the whole city is swarming with zombies. Even though he's running for his life, Akira has never felt more alive. Thanks to zombie apocalypse, Akira doesn't have to go back to work anymore. He finally felt free after 3 years of nothing but pain and suffering. And I really like the way the scene was directed. Up until that point, the world around him was nothing but black and white, symbolizing his depression and unwillingness to live. But as soon as he finds his freedom, his eye light up with so much hope and happiness, and the world around him doesn't just appear black and white anymore. The world is colorful once more, symbolizing his happiness and freedom. What this particular moment shows us is that we each have our own idea of freedom, which in Akira's case is being jobless and not working in a terrible corporation. And that's when Akira is pumped. He finally has the courage to confess to Miss Hotori, only then to find out that she also turned into a zombie. But he doesn't have any regrets. He at least had a lot of balls to confess his love, which is something a lot of us can't do. Yeah, sometimes working a dream job might not bring you real happiness, but that is not the case for everyone. Some people have the will to push through their pain and suffering, and some people don't. And I heard that working in Japan can be hell, and this show shows us how hard it can be. Akira then realizes that no matter what, you're not going to be able to do everything you want in your life. So then he decides to make a list of 100 things that he wants to do before he turns into a zombie. Working can be a pain. No, scratch that. Working is a pain. You can either push through it or you can't. Decide which action brings you the most happiness and satisfaction.